Somebody remind me. So interest rate is yield to what? To maturity, okay? So that is the definition of the interest rate. So now we have to do a study. So let's preview of this chapter. Before we go on study of the money, banking, and the financial markets, right? We must understand exactly what the phrase interest rate means. Because guys, you deal with interest rate in daily. First of all, you all have a saving account. There's interest on your saving account. When in the future, when you graduate, you got a job, you need to buy a new car to commute. Then if you have a car loan, you also have to shopping around the bank. Then you have to check the interest, the car loan interest rate on the car loan they are offered to you. And your parents have to watch what mortgage rate. If they see mortgage rate keeping what decrease, they probably will do what a second mortgage or remortgaging, right? That's what they can do. And also, what you can do is that you also, if you have a student loan, you also what keep watching the student loan, what interest rate on student loan, right? So then, and the credit card, if you have an unpaid balance, there's interest rate plus the financial penalty on it. And the interest rate on the credit card's unpaid balance is what, 17%. So guys, again, do not what swap your credit card, break your credit line, and do not always pay off your credit card debt immediately. Otherwise, the credit company make a lot of money out of you. Anyway, let me continue. So you deal with all those interest rates. So what exactly the interest we are defining this class is what? It's yield to the maturity. It's the most accurate measure of interest rate. Are you clear, guys? So now you probably from chapter corporate finance, you learned that is something called the present value and the futures value. So we're going to calculate the present value of the futures cash flow and the yield to maturity on the four type of credit market instruments. So guys, so far from chapter 1 and chapter 2, we had what? Money markets, right? We also have what? The capital markets. And this chapter we will study something is called what? Credit market. And there's four instruments, four products in the credit market, okay? And also we, in this chapter, we will distinguish between what? Yield to maturity, which is interest rate. And then something called the current yield. That's a definition which you'll learn later in the chapter 4. And the rate of return, and also what the rate of what capital gain. Okay, that's what we do. These guys, yield to maturity, you involve with what present value, future value. You need what the financial calculator. So I won't put those kind of calculation in the test, but the current yield, rate of return, and the rate of capital gain, these are simple what arithmetic calculation. This will be in what? In the test. The simple calculator are able to do the job, okay? Yield to maturity is more complicated. You need to what? The financial calculator. But the current yield, the rate of return, and the rate of capital gain is more easy to calculate. It's arithmetic. So this will be on the test. And also have to interpret the distinction between the real interest rate and the nominal interest rate. In the end of the chapter, we will tell the differences between the real interest rate and the nominal interest rate, okay? So guys, we are talking about the present value right now. A dollar paid to you, right? 1 year from now is less valuable than a dollar paid to you today. So guys, just think you have a dollar, you put in the drawer in your bedroom. It's a dollar, you don't touch it. A year later, it still is what? Lie there is a dollar in the drawer. But the thing is, the dollar years later will purchase less goods than today's $1. Because why is that? Because think of it. If you put this dollar in a saving account, no matter how small interest rate it is, you earn what? Some interest. So a year from now on, it will be what? Little more than what? $8. So therefore, we have something called time value. That's very important concept. Time value and the risk. So what is time value? Time value says that as time goes by, your money, let's say $1, $10, $5, $16, whatever, as time goes by, has what? Has earned more money on that amount that you hold for the present time. Okay, so as time goes by, you have to add the time value to the money that you hold on it. And also, so you understand. So the money presently is $1. In the future, it will be what? More than $1. So now let's explain that in the numerical example. So assume, right? You win the lottery. You win the 20 million lottery. And do you want the lottery payout today? At a lump sum, once you win the lottery, you go to the bureau, said, okay, give me 20 million lump sum. Or you want to earn what, 1 million per year for next 20 years? What are these two values are the same? Anyone? Writes on the chat box. Everyone writes on the chat box. What do you think? Guys, please engaging.
Professor, can you please just repeat the question?
Okay. So the question is that you win the lottery, right? And you win like a lottery today. The lottery is 20 million. So you have two options. One, you go to the government, said, give me the 20 million all at once. Or the government can tell you, we will pay you 1 million every year for next 20 years. What's your option? You choose to get 20 million lump sum today, or you're gonna receive 1 million every year for next 20 years?
We'll get a lump sum. It won't be the same.
Yes, very good. So most of you write it right. You all want what? Lump sum 20 million all at once today. And there's one student gave the explanation why it's better off to earn what? To receive 20 million lump sum today instead of the 1 million for next 20 years. That because 1 million in the future will worth less than today's dollar amount. So it's not a good deal. That's why it's better to get the 20 million in present what value, 20 million instead of have 1 million in next 20 years. Each year you get 1 million because as year goes by and by, the 1 million worth less and less in today's money. Do you understand? So that's why you see, as time goes to the future, the money you hold should what? Add time value to it. Means have grow in value. That's what means in the future's amount should be higher than what today's amount. Does that make sense, everyone? Okay, everyone's clear. Thank you, guys. Guys, I have to apologize to you. This month, my building goes through the renovation, so you hear all this noise. It's my neighbor. I have no choices over it. I hope it doesn't bother you. So guys, now let's assume the interest rate is what? 10%. 10% decimal is 0. What? 0.10. So in 1 year, the 100 current present $100 after year will grow into what? With the 10% interest rate will grow to what? 100 what? $10. In 2 years, $100 will grow into what? 121. You do what? 100 what? $10 after a year, which you grew to from 100. You grew to what? 110. Then in second year, it will multiply by what? 1 plus 0.1 that will in second year will grow into what? $121, or is equal to what? 100 multiplied by 1 plus what? 0.1 to the power of 2. Each year is one period, so 2 years is 2 period. So you use present value multiplied by what? 1 plus the interest rate, which is yield to maturity by the definition, and what? To the power of 2 period. So in n year, the current $100 present value $100 will grow into future value equal to what? 100 multiplied by what? 1 plus what? I interest rate to the power of what? N years, n period. So far it's so good, right? So now guys, the PV is today's what? Present value. It's a notation. PV means today's what? Present value. CF what? Futures cash flow. It's a payment what? The payment. So what happened is that assume you invest on a product, a financial product. So present value is the price you paid for this product, and the futures cash flow is this product will generate the futures cash flow for you. That's why you invest into it. And then how do you find the yield to maturity of this investment? How do you do that? You must equal today's present value which you paid for this product, PV, equal to the future cash flow you receive from this investment product, divided by what? 1 plus what? I is interest rate to the power of what? N period. Are you clear? I'm sure you're clear. That's from corporate finance. Simple and easy. Just 1 second.
Excuse me,
Okay.
Professor.
Yeah? Question?
Yeah. So I didn't take corporate finance. Does that put me at a disadvantage for learning, or what do you think?
What's your name?
I'm Vivek. I didn't take corporate finance yet.
Well, it's not really. It's you can manage this, just this chapter, okay?
Okay, no
And
problem.
plus, I said I don't put this in the calculation, won't be in the test. But I try to explain what is future value, present value. You must understand the general concept.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
But then for the homework, wow, that's a lot of calculation. Chapter 4 has a lot of present and future value. You must use the financial calculator and the spreadsheet. You probably need to ask some classmates to help you out on that one. Yeah, who is talking?
Professor Cosima, I have a question. So you said the midterm is on Monday. So before the midterm, can you email us like a spreadsheet and write it in there what type of calculations are going to be on the midterm?
I will do some simple questions similar to the exam. But in the test, you don't need to use the financial calculator or the spreadsheet. But as I said, it's a homework that you need to use it. The homework that has a lot of questions to do the present value and the futures value.
Okay, got it. I was just talking about the midterm. Like you said, it's going to be
The
simple
midterm would be
calculation.
simple arithmetic calculation, as I said.
Okay, got it.
And also remember, under the content, there is a sample test. If you look at the content, there's a sample midterm test. That's where we go over some question there, okay?
Okay,
During
got
the
it.
review time. And then there's some calculations similar on the test, but different number.
Okay, so you said we are going to do a review, or?
Yeah, we will do some review, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Maybe Thursday, okay? Tomorrow is Wednesday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe Thursday, okay? Baby?
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Now going back to study. So guys, for Vivek, I will be more patient, okay? So guys, 0 is what? Current time is present, okay? So from 0 to the end of is 1 period, 1 year, right? and then to the 2 is second period, 2 year, right? So it goes to n year, okay? So if you put the $10 bill on your drawer, they will remain $100, right, in nominal term. But if you put this $100, today's $100, right, in the what? If you consider this $100, right, first year, second year to end year, and the nominal term is what? The same what? $100. But if you convert those futures $100 to today's amount, how do you do that? You use 100 divided by what? 1 plus I to the power of what? Period. 0 to 1 is just 1 year, it's 1 period, so it's to the power of 1. And in the second period, the end of second period, the second year, 2 years, right? The $100 in the 2 years, in second year, to convert it to present amount, on the nominal term still 100, but you convert them to the today's present value would be 100 divided by what? 1 plus I to the power of what? 2. So imagine n years later, it's still $100, which is a $10 bill. But if you want to convert to today's what? Money's value, you use 100 divided by what? 1 plus I to the power of what? N. That's how you convert the future's $100 into today's value. Are you clear, guys? So now we talk about the type of this you should understand, right? In the test, I will ask what's the type of credit market instrument. So you should understand that. So guys, so we have 4 type of credit market. So you have capital market, you have money market, now you have credit market. So on the credit market, what product, instrument? You have simple loan, you have fixed what? Payment loan. And you have what? Coupon bond. Then you have what? Discount bond. That's the 4 products. We call them what? Credit markets. So start one by one, okay? The simple loan. So now that's the definition of the yield to maturity. What's exactly yield to maturity? Is the interest rate that equates the present value of future flow payment received from a debt instrument with its value today. In other words, make it more simple, less complicated, is that you invest a financial products. That's your investment. So you have to pay $1,000, let's say. That's the present value. But these products in the future will generate what? A cash flow. So you must convert all those futures cash flow to today's what? 1,000. When that equation equals, that I is what? Yield to maturity. Does that make sense, guys? So now I have to do some numerical example, okay? So let me see. So the guys, I have to do the numerical example to explain what the yield to maturity means, okay? So first start with what? Yield to maturity on a simple loan. So let's say that Carolina and I lend the Carolina $100. So Carolina borrowed $100 from me, okay? So amount he borrowed is $100. So the loan term is a simple loan. Means what? You just pay back what? Principal and interest. So the interest is a compounding interest. But assume this is 1 year loan, okay? So Carolina returned me what? A year later. So it's 1 period. The future's money I will getting back. I gave Carolina present value. I gave lend to Carolina is 100. And the future money I will get back is what? 110. So it's grew, right? The value grew. That's why it's term value, okay? So number of years is 1. So how do I find the yield to maturity? It's 100 is present money, 100 present value must equal to what? Futures what? Money I receive, which is $110 divided by 1 plus I. In other words, you have to convert the future's what? Money you're receiving from this investment to today's money you're giving out. Does that make sense, boys, girls? So when you do that, so 100 equal to 110 divided by what? 1 plus I to the power of the 1. So what happened? You do the blah, 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 the calculation, the I equal to what? 10%. So that means this simple loan that I lent to Carolina, it's kind of like investment, because if I keep $100 in my matchbox, it don't earn anything, just 100. But if I do some little investment by make a loan to Carolina, I earn what? $110 a year later. So this investment, my yield to maturity on this investment is what? 10%. Does everyone got the idea, baby? Say yes or no. Okay. So guys, now we will see the fixed payment loan. So payment loan, right, guys? The fixed payment loan is the student loan or mortgage loan is a fixed payment loan, or the car loan. Means what? You borrow money at the present time. Let's say you borrow 10,000 to pay for Queen's College. So that 10,000 is the present value, it's today's value. But once you graduate, right, you have 26 weeks of a grace period. Then you start have to pay what? Installment, means the same amount for the definite what? Number of the period. That is called what? Fixed payment loan. How do you do the fixed payment loan? Is what? The fixed payment loans, the mortgage loan, student loan, and the car loan, these are fixed payment loan. So the fixed payment loan is what? Is the same idea. Is it elevates today's what? Loan value you're taking out from the bank. Then in the future, each what? And each year you have to make a payment to the bank. So those are the futures what? Cash flow, outflow is from your pocket to the bank. So those futures payments, you have to convert them to what? Equal to today's what? The money you borrowed. So that I is yield to maturity. So to make it more realistic, I will give you a numerical example. So I'm share a numerical example sheets, okay? Chapter 4. So the guys, now let's look at this numerical example. Yield to maturity, the first one, simple loan, we did it, right? So it's 10%. But now let's look at the second one question example. Is yield to maturity and the yearly payment on fixed payment loan. Let's say you decide to purchase a new home and you borrowed what? 100,000 mortgage. That's very little mortgage. Usually people's mortgage at least is what? 500,000. But anyway, $500,000. Guys, how much can you give me the average price of the house your family living? So I have an idea. Can you just write the text box? But because this numerical example, wow, Gabrielle, 800,000. What neighborhood you live, Gabrielle? Is the First Hill or Kew Garden or the Hillcrest? Okay, okay, I got you. And nowadays, all those one family house goes to what? 1 million right now. Okay, guys. John, Getian, your house is 1 million. Which neighborhood? John, which neighborhood for 1 million? And it's one family house? Nassau County, that's Long Island. Long Island, the real estate tax is very high. Anyway, guys, now let's look. This numerical example, right? So you decided to purchase a new home, okay? And you need 100,000 mortgage. You take out a loan from the bank. And here he told you the interest rate from the bank point of view would be 7%. So yield to maturity is 7%. So what is yearly payment to the bank if you have to pay this mortgage in 20 years? So how do you do that? So I have to use something called what? Whiteboard. Okay, so guys, you have to look at the whiteboard. I'm writing on the whiteboard. Do you see whiteboard? So the n equal to what? 20 years. Present value, okay, loan value equal to how much? You're borrowing what? 100,000, okay? And the interest rate is what? 7%. So guys, now how do you calculate the futures payments for each annually, for futures payment annually? So how do you do that? So what you do, you use what? LV equal to what? LV equal to what? Current loan value equal to what? The futures payment, FP, divided by what? Oh, sorry. Future payment, FP stands for future payments. 1 plus what? I, which is what? 7% is given to you. For the first period is what? To the power of what? 1, right? Then plus what? FP divided by what? 1 plus what? 7% to the power of what? 2 plus what? FP divided by what? 1 plus what? 7% to the power of what? 3 and plus dot 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 FP divided by 1 plus what? 7 to the power of what? N. Are you clear, guys? And so this is the formula. So that means LV is what? 100,000, okay? 100,000. It's today's money you're taking out from the bank. That will equal to what? Equal to the future you have to pay each year. So futures payments of each year, right? Okay, so guys, so this, how do you do that? This little thing, I don't know what's the name of that in English. What this little upward arrow? Yeah, upward arrow. Upward arrow. That stands for what? To the power of the 1. Okay, to the power of what? Oh, guys, I had the typo here. Sorry, I have a typo here. It's 1 plus what? 1 plus 7%. Okay. It's 1 plus 7%, okay? So guys, so when you do this calculation, which is in your homework, how do you do it? You must have the financial calculator, or if you have what? The if you have what a spreadsheet, then you put those the present of LV actually loan value, but in spreadsheet would be net present value, and FP will be futures value. So Jean-Pierre Quito already calculated it. So Jean-Pierre, what did you use? Can you speak loud? Can you turn on your microphone? So could you type what did you use? Did you use the financial calculator or spreadsheet? So guys, so use the financial calculator. So the solve it, that means in the future for the next 20 years, n is what, 20 years, so I should to the power of 20, okay? So for the next 20 years, every year you pay what? 9,439 what? 30 cents to what? To the bank. That's your annual payment. If you use what? Divided by what? 9,439, 9.3. If you divide by 12, that is your monthly what? Who has the calculator? And Jean-Pierre, can you calculate? If I divide by 12 in my whiteboard, Jean-Pierre, do you have the calculator? Can you calculate that for me? 9,439.3 divided by 12. Jean-Pierre, okay, it's 700 watts, 86. Thank you, guys. It's 700. What do you mean turn your screen to do it? I'm asking you to do it. So, guys, that is what your monthly payment. Your annual payment would be $9,439.30. So each month you write the $786.65 check to the bank. Okay, that's how you find your annual mortgage. I can't figure it out using the financial calculator. Okay, guys, Stephanie, how do you? There's a menu I don't have, and how to use the financial calculator? There's a menu. You have what? To look at that menu, and that was come with the corporate finance. I do not have here. So can you, Stephanie? Can you ask someone to help you out? All right, I am back to the. So guys, we just done the fixed payment loan, right? And so we did the fixed payment loan. So the fixed payment loan, that's the present loan value equal to the futures payment divided by 1 plus I, plus future payment divided by 1 plus I to the second period. It to all the way what? FP divided by what? 1 plus I to the n period. Guys, do you understand? That's the 20. So each year you have paid 9,000. Just make life simple. From that previous calculation, that each year, right, you pay like 9,400, right? So let me tell you the trick. what happened is for the first period, the 9,400, right? These amount you send to the bank, that is mostly what applies to what to the what to the interest payments. Very little goes to what in the principal. But let's say it's 9,400. That was supposed to be what a fixed payment for the 20 years. But sometimes some bank allow you to pay what extra. Let's say you pay what 100 extra. So instead of paying 9,400, you pay 9,500. That 100 what would be direct to repay what the principal. If you do that, you will accelerate your what amortization of your mortgage loan. But then on the other hand, the bank will lose what profit from this loan from you. So therefore, some banks straight not allow you pay what extra on your what monthly mortgage. You have just pay exactly how much is calculated. Some bank allow you to pay a little bit what extra, but let's say you just pay the fixed 9,400. This same 9,400 as time goes by and by, the most amount that 9,400 will go back to what pay back what principal and the principal in the close to the end. Okay, guys. So the next one we calculate something called a coupon bond. Okay, what is a coupon bond? And sweetheart, the coupon bond is a corporate bond. Do you know why it's called a coupon bond? That because before we invented what computer, those corporation issued the bond. The investor, bear bond. Very good, Brandon. You are so good. So what happened is those investor has what that bond certificates, and then there's coupon come with it. So the interest payment, also the coupon bond, the corporate bond pay what coupon payment means what the interest payment. Make no mistake, this interest payment is means coupon payment, not the yield to maturity of this investment. Okay, so what happened is, let's say the coupon rate is 10%, guys, which I will write in the chat box. Okay, so let's say usually the coupon bond face value is 1,000, right? If they say the coupon payment is a coupon rate is 10%, that means they will pay you what $100. It's 10% of what face value, so it's $100. If it's 20-year corporate bond, so you will receive what $100 each year for 20 years. And in the end of 20 years, you also get what face value, the 1,000 back. That is the investment of coupon bond. Why it's called a coupon bond? Because before we had the computer, the investor have cut what a coupon to send to the corporation. Then they get that $1,000 what interest payments, their coupon payment to them, sent to them, the corporate sent to them. So they send in the coupon bond, the coupon to the corporation, and corporation send what the annual what coupon payment to them. That's why we call it coupon bond, or we call it bearer bonds. Okay. So then here's the thing. So you do invest this what corporate bond. So what is the current price you invested? Is the P, right? That's the current value you purchase this coupon bond. What equal to what? The futures what cash flow you're receiving from these investments. The futures cash flow would be what? Annual coupon payment, right? And what? To convert those futures annual coupon payment to today's what? Present value. Plus, you also in the end you receive $1,000 as a face value back. So you also have to convert that face value what to today's what value. So you add them together. That should be the fair price you're willing to pay for this coupon bond. So that means your present price of this investment must equal to what? The futures cash flow you're receiving and what? And the face value you're receiving at the end of maturity to today's price you're paying. That is the whole formula. Are you clear, guys? And now I'm gonna do another what small numerical example so you get the feeling how we calculate the coupon bond, okay? So the next one, so yield to maturity and the coupon and the bond price for coupon bond. So that says the coupon bond is 10% coupon bond. That means the coupon rate is 10%. Face value is 1,000. And the yield to maturity means you're earning yield to maturity of this investment is given to you. I is 12.25, right? And the period is 8 years, 8 period. So how much you should pay for this investment? What does that mean is that you won't find out the price you pay for this coupon bond. But what this coupon give to you in the future, they give you annual coupon payment for 8 years. And in the 8th year, they also give you back face value, which is 1,000. So how do we calculate the current fair value now? So I use the white screen, okay? Again, bear with me, guys. So this is a calculation of the price of coupon bond. So P equal to, so how much is the P equal to? So the coupon rate is to 10%, and the face value is 1,000, which means the annual coupon payment will equal to what? 1,000 multiplied by what? 10%. Then equal to how much? $100. Okay, so you receive $100, and the N is what? Equal to 8 years. No, Jean-Pierre, it's not right. And the interest rate yield to maturity is what? For this investment, which is the definition interest rate, equal to what? 12.25%. So guys, so how much is you are getting? So how much you have to pay? So that's again, we use what? Present value, futures value. The present value is the price you're gonna pay, or equal to what? The futures amount you're receiving is what? 100 divided by what? 1 plus what? It's already tell you is what? Interest rate is 12.25% to the power of what? First period, and plus 100 divided by what? 1 plus what? 12.25% to the power of what? Second period, plus 100, oh, to the power of 3, plus da da da, plus 100 divided by what? 1 plus what? 12.25 to the power of what? 8. So guys, that's the formula. So Jean-Pierre, you say you take it out. How 446 wrong. Jean-Pierre is wrong. Someone else who knows how to use the financial calculator to do that? Anyone? So the price, anyone who, so Jean-Pierre, it's wrong. Can you recalculate it? 400 is too cheap. You are getting the bargaining. It's more around the 800 or something. 889. Very good, Stephanie. So you know how to calculate it. How did you calculate it? You used the what? It's not. It's 800 exactly. Yes. Stephanie, that is you got it from a spreadsheet, right? That look like spreadsheet command. So the price of it's 889.20 cents. Okay, so guys, you're paying these investments what? $889.20. So that's the price you pay for this 8-year what coupon bond. So what you're receiving $100 for what 8 years, and then in 8th year you receive face value 1,000. Did you notice your price of 889 is less than what? Less than what? Can you pay attention? 189 is what price? Price equal to 800 what? Not 20. It's less than what? It's less than face value 1,000. 1,000. Therefore, you also notice what? Your what? Yield to maturity is what? 12 point what? 25%. 12 point, well, greater than what? Greater than what? Coupon rate, which is what? 10%. Are you got it? So guys, that's from corporate finance. If you purchase a coupon bond, right? If your price you paid less than face value, in this case it's 800, face value is what? 1,000. If you paid less than face value, then your investment yield to maturity is measure your investment. It's 12.25%. Your investment yield to maturity will be what? Greater than what? Than the coupon payment, coupon rate, which is what? 10%. Remember that. So I clear, guys. Can you remember that? If your price is less than what face value, then your yield to maturity on this investment will be greater than what? Than the coupon rate. Okay? Can I erase all this, guys? Now I have to go back to the slides. Everyone okay with it? Yeah? Okay. Love you guys. So engaged. So we did the coupon bond, right, guys? So we know how to calculate the coupon bond. So that's what I want to tell you. I'm writing in the box, okay? So that one, when the bond price, right? price at face value equal to its face value. So let's say you paid that bond with $1,000, exact at equal to what? Face value. So what happened? We call it what? Purchase at what? On par, okay? And if you purchase on par, that usually means what? And yield to maturity. That's measure of your investment. Your yield to maturity will equal to what? Coupon rate. Okay? So, but if you would be what? Bond price is what? Greater than what? Greater than the bond price is less than the face value, like what we did. It's 800, right? Face value is what? 1,000. Then we say you purchase on what? At a discount, okay? Jean-Pierre, it's not called a discount bond. Discount bond is another bond category. You just say you purchase this coupon bond at a discount price, okay? Jean-Pierre, are you hearing me? So don't call it a discount bond. You call it what? At a discount price, okay? We will do the calculation of discount bonds. The discount bond is another category. I will explain to you. So if bond price is what? Less than the face value, then you purchase at discount. So if you purchase discount, then the yield to maturity, right? Will be greater than what? Than coupon rate. So in our case, yield to maturity is 12.25%. It's greater than coupon rate, which is 10%. Okay, so if you pay the bond price is greater than what? Than the face value. So let's say you paid 1,200. Usually bond face value is what? $1,000, and you paid for this investment 1,200. So it's greater than what? Face value. We say you purchase at what? A premium. And then that means your yield to maturity, the measure of an investment, will be less than what? Than to what? Coupon rate. Are you clear, guys? So what does that tell you, guys? The price of coupon bond and the yield to maturity are what? Negative related. So that means if the coupon price, the price of coupon bond increase, the yield to maturity will what? Decrease. So what means is what? If the price of what? Of a coupon bond increases, the yield to maturity will what? Decrease on this coupon bond, okay? So if the price of a coupon bond decreases, the yield to maturity will what? Increase on this what? Coupon bond. Are you clear, guys? So the price of a coupon bond and yield to maturity are what? Are negative related. So the yield to maturity is greater than coupon rate when what? Bond price is what? It's less than its face value. So guys, I summarize all those in the chat box. Are you clear now? Say yes, so I know.
I'm still reading.
Who is says still confused? Who is talking?
I was reading, not confused.
Ah?
I said I was still reading. Never mind, just.
Okay, I can go to the next slides, okay? Okay, guys, now let's look. This is the same coupon bond, the yield to maturity on 10-year coupon rate. So the interest rate is what? The coupon rate is what? 10%. So Vivek, I pick on you, okay? Since you are not, you haven't taken the corporate, just simple from my example I did. So if the 10% coupon rate, that means if you invest on this coupon bond each year, how much you receive as a coupon payment? Vivek?
Was it $100?
Yes, you got it. So use 10% multiply what? 1,000. So you get what? $100 annually for next what? 10 years, because
But
this is what? 10 years coupon bond. Are you clear now?
yeah, this is really simple math. I got it. Thank you.
Yes. But then how do you find the price? This coupon bond is just like an orange. The price fluctuates. If a lot of people want to eat orange, then the price of orange is what? Expensive. It's very few people want to eat orange. Actually, everybody was eating the apple. Then very few people want to eat the orange. Then price is low. The same thing to this bond. This bond price change from all the way highest 1,200 to lowest to 800. So the price, the bond price decreased from 1,200, decreased all the way to 800. Then you look at the yield to maturity. Yield to maturity is a measure of your investment of this bond, okay, which is the most accurate one. So the yield to maturity is what? Increase from 7.13% to what? 13.81%. So again, proves the bond price decrease. The yield to maturity on this bond would be what? Increase. That actually makes sense. Let's say if you buy some piece of property, the less the price you pay, the better, the juicier deal you are getting. If that property is not damaged or have defects. Do you understand what I mean? So that's why the less price you pay for that bond, you get a higher what? Yield to maturity. But then there's always a reason why what? That bond price so low, let's say 800, less than face value. That's because maybe some people heard the financial news, the company is not doing well. That's why people selling off that bond. That's why price is what go down. But if you're a contrarian investor, you say, I believe the management, I believe the CEO will what? Will bring the company back to the right track. They will stabilize the cash flow, and eventually all those dire situation will pass. So you still invested. You bought it at a bargain 800, and you have a faith and a belief. You believe in that company. Then the company didn't default, so you got all your money back, which is $100 for next 10 years and plus 1,000. Then you got really good investments. Your yield on this investment would be 13.81. Do you get it, Vivek? Does that make sense? Does that speak in the simple language?
Yes, it's actually very much simpler than I anticipated. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to next slide, okay? Guys, we're gonna talk something called a council of perpetuity. Guys, I just 5 seconds, I get a cup of tea, okay? It's talking straight, I'm so thirsty. Okay, guys, the back. I get a little bit, a bottle of water next to me. So guys, now we talk about something called what? Perpetuity, okay? Or what? Perpetuity and council. This council perpetuity is an instrument, a product. You invested on that. They give you annual what? Coupon payments. and then it never matures. That means it's forever. That's why we call it perpetuity. So you receive, let's say the coupon payment is $100 every year. So you receive $100 forever, which forever in the relative term means until you're still alive. Once you are aging $100, you die. That's it. They don't pay anymore. Okay, but nonetheless, you invest this maturity, right? But this perpetuity, then you start receiving what annual payment until your death. So we call it what? There's no maturity date. So we call it a perpetuity. So the perpetuity price would equal to what? Your annual coupon payments, interest payments, C, divided by what? Yield to maturity of these what? Investments. So PC is the price of the console. C is yearly what? Interest payments. IC is what? Yield to maturity. It's a measure of this product that you invest in, this investments, okay? So you can rewrite the equation. Yield to maturity of this console equal to what? The annual what? Interest payment that you're receiving divided by the price you're paying for this what? Piece of financial product, PC, which is present price you paid for it. So for coupon bond, this equation gave what? So remember what I said, current yield? If we are talking about coupon bond in the definition, these guys, in definition, this is called what? Current yield, okay? In the coupon bond, this is a perpetuity. But in the coupon bond, we define this called what? Current yield, okay? And we will calculate. You see, current yield is what? Arithmetic. Know those power to the geometric powers, right? Just use what? Annual interest payment divided by the current price you pay for it. We call that current yield. We will see that in the what? As we go on with the slides, we will see this again, okay? So easy to calculate what? So why this is important in the discount coupon bond? This is easier what to calculate approximation to the yield to maturity, because if you don't have what financial calculator, if you don't have what how do you say, the what you call the what's that spreadsheet, so you use current yield as approximation instead of to find the accurate what yield to maturity. You just use the C divided by PC. Are you clear now, guys? And now I want to show you the, before I do the discount bond, I want to show you again in the whiteboard to calculate a numerical example, okay, guys? So yield to maturity and so forth. So guys, now yield to maturity on the perpetuity, the numerical, right? Vivek, listen to me carefully. So you purchase what? Perpetuity, right? Because it's on a bond. It was, you paid $2,000, and this bond will pay you what, 100 interest annually, and forever. But you will never get a face value. You just receive this $100 what forever until you leave this planet, okay, to somewhere else, to the heaven. So how do you calculate the yield to maturity? Simple. How do you calculate it? Okay, it's very simple. I'm just gonna write over here instead of the whiteboard. So the price you paid is what? So price you paid is what? 2,000, right? And the interest payment, the annual interest payments is how much? Is 100, right? It says, and you receive this forever. So what's the yield to maturity? The I would equal to what? 100 divided by what? 2,000. So the I equal to how much, guys? 100 divided by 2,000. That equal to anyone?
20.
No, not 20, baby. 5%, 0.05.
I see.
Okay. So guys, that's how you calculate what yield to maturity on what? On the what? Perpetuity. Is that clear, guys?
I see.
Are you clear now? Everyone, are you clear? But can I challenging you? If I give you one numerical question, can you calculate it? May I do that? I'm gonna write this question in the chat box, and let's see if you're able to calculate it. If you pay $4 million on a bond with no maturity date, and that your son will receive 100,000 annually forever, what is the yield to of these investments? Guys, 5 minutes calculated it. Already done, Gabrielle? How'd you do that? Would you write the whole formula? Gabrielle, can you write in the chat box? Not just the answer. You use a formula. Can you show it? Yes, guys, that's correct. So, guys, let me also ask you a question. Please turn on your mic if you want to answer. Let's say you worry about your son, right? You're wealthy enough. Would you leave this 4 million to your son as cash, or you purchase this perpetuity that your son can receive the 100,000 forever? What is your choices? Gabrielle, what's your choice? If you have a son, you're gonna leave 4 million cash, or you want to purchase this perpetuity, and that way your son will receive 100,000 forever. Assume the yield to maturity is only 2.5%. What's your choices, Gabrielle? Can you speak? Oh, Gabrielle, you purchased a perpetuity. Yeah, what? You don't trust your son? You think he will squander the 4 million away? Does anyone have the other way to do it? Who gonna leave in 4 million cash just to his son or her son instead of purchase this perpetuity? Okay, if I'm so wealthy, I will leave 4 million. I trust my, yeah, Kevin, me too. I would. I trust my son. I trust him. I let him to make the investment what portfolio and the combination. I think this perpetuity only give you what 2.5% of what rate of return. I mean not rate of return, the yield to maturity. That's very low. If he makes a very good combination, some part to the stock, some to the bond, some to the what rates, to the commodity, his return annual return on 4 million could be what? Even he just put all his money on the S&P index mutual fund. Sometimes S&P perform what? It's 5%. It's better than 2.5%. So I would leaving $4 million cash to my son. I won't buy what this perpetuity, but the perpetuity is what more what conservative, safe. That means your son, no matter how bad he is, if he has this perpetuity, he always have 100,000 a year to live on. Either way, it's your philosophy, okay? That's for my case. I probably Yeah, I think so. I would give him 4 million. Exactly, he's young, and I trust him. I think he can earn more than this 2.5 that they can earn by perpetuity. Okay, we done perpetuity. Now we talk about discount bond. Now I have to explain what's the discount bond. Exactly. Oh, Kevin, you sound so smart. He will have a billion. Well, that's Donald Trump, guys. You know, Trump, his father gave him 1 million to invest in, I think 1 million or 2 million. Let him to invest in the Manhattan. He succeeded. Trump in the way succeeded. 1 million, yeah. Trump succeeded in the way. So now we're gonna talk about what? We did a coupon bond, but so now we talk about what? A discount bond, okay? So we did it perpetually. Now we talk about discount bond. So guys, discount bond, it's not this. Why we call it discount bond is that you invest a bond, you will never receive what? Annual interest payments on that bond. But the price of discount bond usually always what? Below the face value. That's why we call it what? Discount bond. However, if you purchase a coupon bond, but the price is what? Below the what? Face value, you still purchase what? A coupon bond. You just purchase at what? Discount price. Okay? But discount bond is different category. Discount bond never pay you what? Interest. All you get is the face value in the end when it's mature. But the price of what? The the price of what? The price of what? The discount bond is always less than face value. That's why we call it what? Discount bond. So the here the example is just 1 year discount bond. So here is very important concept I'm telling you here. 1 year discount, usually people just hold it for a year, not selling it. So your holding period exactly equal to what? The time to maturity. So 1 year you hold for 1 year and it's 1 year to maturity. So the face value, then the interest will be arithmetic, more simple. Interest equal to what? Face value, 1,000 minus the price, which usually is discount price you paid, and divided by the price you paid. That give you what? Yield to maturity. And the yield to maturity equals what? Increase in price over the year divided by what? Initial price. This is more without what? The arithmetic. This is more arithmetic. It's not what? A geometric what? Series, okay? So as with coupon bond, yield to maturity is negatively related to what? The current bond price. So if discount bond price increase, the yield on discount bonds, the yield to maturity will what? Decrease. If discount bond price decrease, yield to maturity on discount bond would be what? Increase. Always remember bond price and yield to maturity is always what? Negatively related. Okay, guys, and now we do one last numerical. Then we're done for the numerical. Then we're gonna just concept. So the guys now the 5 yield to maturity on a discount bond. Okay, so what is the yield to maturity for a 1 year what? Treasury what? Bill. It's a treasury bill with a current price of 900. You see, the face value is 1,000, but the price you pay is what? 900 is what? Discount price, less than face value. And you are is what? Discount bond. So during this 1 year, you don't receive any interest payments. You just get 1,000 back in the end. So what is the yield to maturity? You can do it in 2 ways. One way you do that like this way, like the textbook road, the book roads, okay? One way you do it is like this way. You do what? You use what? The yield to maturity equal to what? 1,000 minus what? minus 900 divided by what? 900 equal to 11 point what? 1%. That is yield to maturity, simple one. Or you can do what? The more complicated one, but yield the same result. Is the current price you paid is what? 900. What equal to in the future you receive what? 1,000. Divided by what? 1 plus what? I, which you are looking for it. To the power what? To the power 1 period, just 1. And you do the calculation, the I will equal to what? 11.1% as well. Okay? So guys, you have two ways. Are you able to see it on this paper? That's how I calculate it. So that's where you find the yield to maturity on this compound. The first one is you just what? Use 1,000 face value minus what? You should increase size on your own screen as well. So I equal to what? 1,000 minus 900 divided by what? 900. Vivek, do you understand? So for the yield to maturity for the 1-year discount bond is 11.1%. Or you can use that concept of present value, futures value. Present price you paid for this discount bond is 900. And a year later, you get a what? 1,000. So that 900 present value must equal to the future 1,000 divided by what? 1 plus I to the power of what? Just 1 year, so 1 period. So you do the calculation, I still equal to what? 11.1%. So that's how we calculate what? Yield to maturity on discount bond. Are you clear, guys? All right, so now I'm back to the slide. Okay, the guy said, this is the very complicated one, the distinction between the interest rate and what? The interest rate and the rate of return, okay? So, guys, I want to continue of this, don't want to break in the half. So that's why let's have a break, 20 minutes break now. And then we will continue of this. Otherwise, half of these slides and then break. How's that? So guys, let's have a 20-minute break. So come back 3:45. Come back 3:45. Okay? Guys, see you later. I'm going to a bathroom. Come back 3:45. Guys, are you back? Okay, I'm going on. Okay, guys, now let's look at, okay, I have all 4 students, full house. I love it. So guys, now we will look at of something rate of return, okay? The rate of return, which it says RET, rate of return, right? You assume you have a coupon bond. You all have a coupon bond. And you hold the coupon bond from T periods to T plus 1 period. Okay, so now let me write in the whiteboard, okay, everyone? I'm going to the whiteboard to write it, okay? So the rate of return, or you call the RET, okay? So what happened is hold a bond, hold a coupon bond from T periods to T plus 1 period, okay? So what happened is, so you have what, the price PT and the price PT plus 1, right? And then you also have what, during this 1 period, you have what, the interest payment, right? So what is what, the rate of return? So the rate of return would be what? Rate of return, I was using that. Rate of return, RET, will equal what? PT T plus 1 minus what? PT. So that's the price differences. In the end of the T plus 1 period, that was the coupon price. Let's say you sell them. Minus what? The price you purchase at the T period. Then during this 1 period, you also receive what? Interest payment, right? That's all your income. Divided by what? The price you paid as PT, okay? So guys, so now what happened is I can rearrange of what's my formula. So I could be what? P T plus 1 minus what? PT divided by what? PT plus C divided by PT. So guys, now you have 2 parts. So now these parts, I put the square. This part is the price at the T plus 1 period minus price at the T period. So if there's a positive, that's you have some capital gain. And divided by your original price you paid at what? PT. So we call it what? The capital by the growth rate, G, equal to what? Capital growth rate. And this PC divided by PT is what? That's a famous one. We call it what? Current yields, okay? Are you clear now? So the rate of return has two parts. That's what happened in the exam. You know how to calculate. So one part is called capital what? Growth rate. The other part called what? Current what? Yield, okay, which is C divided by PT. Are you clear now? So can I go back to the slides? Because if I go back slides, this will be erased. Can I go back to the slides? Okay, I go back to the slides, okay? So now you understand the rate of return equal of what? The two parts, capital growth rate plus what? The yield, okay? So I'm going back to slides. So guys, that is what I just did in the whiteboard. RET, rate of return, is what? A C is the interest payment in that one period divided by initial price. We call that what? Current yield, okay? Then the PT plus 1 minus price PT divided by PT, we call them what? We call them the rate of capital gain is a G. So rate of return is what? These two parts, okay? Are you clear, guys? So now before I am go to all those three slides, we first these two slides, I want to use the numerical example and then go back to the previous two slides explain. So guys, Vervik, I will pick on you, okay? So remember 1 year return on different maturity of what? 10% coupon rate bond when interest rates from 10% to 20%. What's here's so Vivek, this is a 10-year 10% of coupon rate. So annual coupon payment will equal to how much, Vivek?
You say that one more time?
So reading the slides, this is a 1 year return. You calculate 1 year rate of return on the different maturity coupon bond, okay? And those coupon bonds all have what? The 10% coupon rate. So if it's 10% coupon rate, that implies annual coupon payment would be equal to how much?
$100.
Exactly. Thank you very, very much. And then he also tell you the interest rate. It's like the temperature. You are invest, guys here. So the temperature, the interest rate environment is in the increasing environment. It's not cutting the interest rate. The interest increase from 10% to 20%. That's general environment outside, okay? So let's assume we have, I will pick the people's name. Okay, so let's assume the first one is Vivek, okay? Vivek is the one who invested the 30 years. He has a good appetite. He invests a long-term one. So he purchased what? 30 years what? Bond. And the next student I will pick is what? Brandon, you are the one who invests 20 years, okay? Remember, you assign you are 20 years. And then the 10 years, the 10-year would be Carolina, okay? You are in 20 years. And what happened is 5 years. 5 years would be who will invest the Jean-Pierre, okay? You invested the 5 years. And what? Gabriel invested 2 years, okay, guys? All everything's all fine now, okay? And so here now that's what you do, okay? And so the Vivek, you are the one who invests the longest term, 30 years. So the initial current year, so all five of you, right? All the students are assigned. You purchase the bond was at face value 1,000, okay? And you just holding one period. Then you sell the next period. The next period price you paid 1,000. The next year period price would be what? 500 straight. So in this one period, you only hold for 1 year. Vivek, you invest 30-year what? Maturity bond, but you just hold it for what? 1 year. So what happened? How do I calculate my rate of return? My rate of return equal two parts, right? Rate of return, RET, has two parts, right? Two parts. The first part is what? Is what? Current yields, right? Then plus what? G is what? Capital what? Growth rate, right? So guys, now Vivek, what is your current yield? Remember current yield by definition is the C divided by what? The PT, the price you paid. So your price paid is what? 1,000. How much you receive annual interest payment? Vivek, answer me.
The annual interest payment, you mean for 1 year? The 10%?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 100, right?
Yes, 100 to 10%.
Divided by what? 1,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you got 10%. So you got the first part. But then what is the capital gain growth rate? So now you hold it for one period. The end of one period, the price of that 30-year bond, if you want to sell them, it's only what? You only can sell at $503. So if you sell it, your capital gain is what? Negative. You actually lose what? 497 what? Dollars. So your capital gain rate would be what? 497 divided by what? Your initial price, 1,000. That would be negative what?
49 point.
Minus 49.7, right?
Yes.
So then you add them together. That's your rate of return. So it's 10% plus the negative 49.7%. Your return on this investment, just holding a 30-year maturity long-term bond, but you only hold 1 year, one period, you sell them. And actually your return on this investment, rate of return is what? Negative what? 39.7%. Are you clear?
Yes.
So the 20 years bond, who did I assign to? And please talk about it. Who did I assign to? 20 years, guys. Who did I, John? Is that you are the 20 years? Who did I tell to do the 20 years? Okay, now I'm just assigning John. John? John, are you able to do John? Getty Jean. Are you able to do the 20 year? Turn on your microphone. Okay, John. Again, you
Listening.
you invest the 20-year bond. Unlike Vivek invests the 30-year bond, which is longer term than 20 years. So now you paid what? $1,000 what? On par, and you hold it for one period. End of one period, if you want to sell them, the price is $516. How do you calculate the rate of return? You do two parts, right? Current yields and what? The growth, what? The capital growth rate. So how do we find the current yields, John?
I'm just listening. I'm paying attention, but I just went to just wash something, so I'm just listening. So I don't I know I have a general idea, but I don't know. I don't want to give you the wrong
Okay,
answer.
so for the current yields is what? coupon interest payment, coupon payment divided by the initial price. This is a 10% of coupon payment. So the coupon rate. So coupon payment would be what? 100. The 100
Yeah.
divided by 1,000, it would be what? 10%. So that's why you got the 10% is your current
Yeah.
what? Yield. And then the capital rate of capital gain. You just hold those 20-year bond for one period. If you sell it, the price would be what? $516. Actually, you have a capital loss was what? You lost $484 because
Yeah,
the initial
84.
price.
Yeah.
So then the capital gain would be negative. It's negative what? 48.4%, right?
Yeah,
So the
that's right.
negative 48.4% plus the 10%, your rate of return was equal to what? Negative what? 38.4 what? Percent. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. For the 10 years, it's a Carolina, right? I assigned it to you. Can you explain how do you calculate the rate of return, Carolina? Turn on.
I'm not sure how to.
Again, I write here, rate of return RET equal to current yield plus what the G is a capital gain, capital growth rate. So now I do it, I'm asking you, you answer, okay? So you invest 10-year bond, so you are even what? Shorter term than the 20-year and the 30-year. The Vivek invests the longest term, which is 30-year, and John invests the shorter term, 20 years, and your intermediate term, yeah, 10 years, still long term. So Carolina, you paid the price, the initial price you bought from this discount bond is on par, $1,000. And so, yes, Curry Boga, you are so fast, very good. You have a smaller mistake, yeah. Oh yeah, but Karagova is right, but I will assign you later, okay? You are Chiriguba, right? Nuvia, right? Nuvia Chiriguba. Anyway, Carolina, so the rate of return equal to current yield. The current yield is equal to what? The interest payment divided by initial price. How much interest payment are you receiving? So the current yield, the coupon payment equal to what? 1,000 multiplied by what? 10%. Equal to much? 100, right? No, now I'm doing 20 years, okay? So it's 100, right? So the current yield is what? 100 divided by what? Divided by what? 1,000, right? That will equal to what? 10%. So Carolina is here. It's 10%, right? Now you have to calculate the capital growth rate. Growth rate. Capital growth rate equal to what? The what? Final price for 20 years, 10 years. The final price after one period is 597. Is what? 597 minus what? Your initial price, 1,000, right? And divided by what? 597, right? And will equal to how much? 400 what? $3 divided by 1,000 equal to negative what? 40.3%. Okay? Then how do you do the rate of return for the 20 years? For the 20 years, coupon bonds holding for a year. will equal to what? 10% current yields plus what? The negative capital growth rate is negative what? 40.3%. Will equal to how much? Minus what? 30.3 what? Percent. Okay. So Vivek, John, and Carolina, you understand?
Yes, Professor.
Of course.
And John? Okay, so who did I assign the 5 years? Do you remember? You have to do it in the chat box like I did. I assigned the 5 years. Is Jean-Pierre? Is that you for the 5 years? Jean-Pierre, answer me. Don't be lazy, Jean-Pierre.
I think he
Jean-Pierre,
was
right?
2, not 5.
Huh?
I think he was 2 when I remember.
So who is the 5? Who is the 5?
I'm 2. I'm Gabriel's 2. I'm 2.
Gabriel is 2, right?
Yep.
Okay, so Brandon is the 5. I remember. Brandon, are you 5? Brandon, are you there? Oh, Jean-Pierre, you did. I did it to 5. Okay, Jean-Pierre, type it. How do you find the for 5? The rate of return. Do remember, 5 means what? Time to maturity is 5 years. But you invest those bonds, you're only holding for 1 period, just holding for 1 year. And Jean-Pierre, can you calculate the rate of return for the 5-year coupon bonds by only holding it for 1 year? And write it. Can you write it in the Jean-Pierre, can you write it, please? Please, we're waiting for you. Okay, we wait for him. He's writing it. How he did it. Are you writing? We're waiting for you. Hello? 741 minus, yes, that's the capital growth rate. And then find the current yield. No, sweetheart. There, it's add. Addition is not minus. It's add. The correct, but it's the plus 100 divided by 1000. Okay. Are you done, Jean-Pierre? Okay. So yeah, plus. Okay. So what did Jean-Pierre did? So for the 5 years. Okay, for the 5 years, I do it. I write it so that way you understand. That is in the exam. Okay, for the 5-year coupon bond. For the 5-year coupon bond. So the current yield, we already old friends, equal to what? Equal to 100 divided by what? 1000. That equal to what? 10%. That's our old friends. And here is the capital growth rate. equal to what? Capital growth rate is what? 741. That's in final price. Minus what? 1,000. Divided by 1,000. That equal to how much? Minus what? 25.9%. So then the rate of return, RET rate of return equal to what? 10% plus what? Minus 25.9%. What equal to what? Minus what? 15 point what? 9%. Are you clear, guys? So that is the 5 years. So 2 years, who assigned to? Brandon, your term. Can you calculate the rate of return of 2 years and write in? Oh, Gabriel, right? Gabriel,
Yeah.
you are 2 years. Write it on the chat box. Then we can summarize. Okay, Gabriel, you got it right. And continue. Very good. So guys, you see, so what happened is what is for 2 years the current yield is what 10%. So again, and what the capital growth rate is what $917 minus what 1,000 divided by 1,000 is what negative 8.3%. Then you plus 10%, you get what 1.7%. So for the 1 year is what exactly perfect 10% because you purchase at a par, and your holding period exactly equal to what the time to maturity, just 1 year, and you're holding to 1 year. Then your rate of return equal to yield to maturity and equal to what? Coupon rate, 10%. Guys, you want to let me, okay, that's what we're observing right now. We did all this. I want to make some observations set of the calculation. First of all, always remember the current yield is a way to calculate. It's approximation to the what? Yield to maturity. When you don't have what? Financial calculator, and when you don't have a Excel, and let's say you're an investor and you go to your bond dealer, try to buy a bond, but the bond dealer doesn't have what Excel and the financial calculator. So what he will give you is what he just said, oh, this is a 10% of coupon payment coupon bond. So that means the coupon payment is 100, right? And then he said today's price is 800. So he will give you current yield instead of yield to maturity. How do you find the current yield? You just use that $100 divided by what? 800 for the current price. So that's the current yield. Okay, now we have all kinds of investor. From Vivek, which is the most brave one, he invests the longest term bond, which is 30 years, and to Gabriel, who invests short term, right? Did you notice the longer term you get all the negative return until you invest in shorter term, you start getting positive rate of return. So what it's telling you here is that when you purchase, let's say you're shopping the bond, you can choose 30 year, 20 year, 10 years, 5 years, and you also know the general environment you're expecting interest is increase from 10% to 20%. In this case, what should you choose? Short-term interest bond. Short-term interest, short-term bond. Their way you have less risk, and your return is more even it's small 1.7, but it's a positive one. So when you invest long-term bond, you suffer something called interest rate risk, because if it's long-term, if you invest long-term bond, if you know the Fed going increase interest rate, okay, then the long-term bond you invest, if you just hold one period and try to sell it, but the interest rate is increased, that's the general environment. If you sell it, the bond you're having is less attractive. You won't sell at the price you bought. You will sell at capital loss. That's why we call that interest risk, because the longer the bond has more interesting risk, because in 30 years you never able to predict how Fed gonna how the economy will fare and how the interest will change. Will Fed increase interest rate or decrease interest rate? Right now Fed made it clear, right? The interest will close to zero, and it will maintain that for a while, because we didn't have a V-shaped rebound yet, and the coronavirus, the death rate decreased, but the case rate increased, right? So that's why full of uncertainty right now. So in that case, you observe it's better invest shorter term, okay? And also the longer term, the longer to the maturity, the rate of return is less. Once to 20 years you hold for 1 year, you still have 19 years to go. For 10-year bonds, you hold for 1 year, you still have 9 years to go. But still, it's a shorter time to the maturity. It's only 9 years. But here you hold for 1 year, you still have 29 years to the maturity. So that's why we go back to the summary of observation, is that return equal yield to maturity only if the holding period equals the time to maturity. What does that mean is only in the 1 year when someone invests 1 year bond and you hold for 1 year as well. So holding period exactly equal to time to maturity. Then your rate of return exactly equal to yield to maturity, 10%. So in general, there's concept, right? Rate of return. So let me write in the chat box. So rate of return, right? And yield to maturity are two different concepts, okay? First of all, and the yield to maturity is more accurate to measure an investment, okay? And in general, rate of return does not equal to yield to maturity. However, under one condition, that condition is one holding period exactly equal to time to maturity. then the rate of return will exactly equal to what? Time to maturity, okay? I mean, rate of return will exactly equal to what? Yield to maturity. Are you clear, guys? So what does that mean is that Vivek invested 30 years, right? And right now interest rate is what? He's holding just for 1 year. He has no patience. He wants to sell it. But then interest rate is what? In the big environment, in the bigger picture, interest rates increase from 10% to 20%. So if he wants to sell his 20-year bond, 30-year bond, someone who purchased still have 29 years to go, right? So then the market price he wants to sell it will only be what? $503. So if he sell it, he will what? Lose lots of capital. So what's the best way for Vivek? Means if he doesn't gain a lot, he doesn't lose a lot, the safest way is holding exactly 30 years. That means his holding time is 30 years, and the time to maturity of these bonds is 30 years. Then in that case, his yield to maturity will exactly equal to what?
The
Rate
10%.
of return. Do you understand me?
Yes.
And here, his yield to maturity is easy to know. Because why? Because his initial price, he paid what? $1,000. So what happened? If he paid on par, his rate, the yield to maturity will exactly equal to what? 10%. So therefore, if he hold this bond 10%, he will what? Get 10% of what? Rate of return. And he also he will get 10% of yield to maturity. But because the holding time exactly equal to the time to maturity, so his rate of return will also equal to what? 10%. So that's the safest way. Because for those 30 years, Vivek will want to market the timing. If he holding 1 year, he sell it, he lose 490. What if he holding 15 years and sell it? But still, there's if he sell it after 15 years, still that bond has still have 15 years to go, right? So there, when he sell in 15 years, does he know what the interest rate will be in that 15 years? So that's why it's very hard to timing the market, because you don't have insider information. You don't know the Fed, one gonna increase interest rate, one gonna decrease interest rate. That's one reason to invest long-term interest is riskier, because in 30 years, it's such a long time span, interest rate can change a lot, which is hard to time market timing. So the safest bet is just hold it for 30 years if you have that patience. All right, guys, do you understand now? Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Oh, good. So the return, the rate of return equal to the what? Yield to maturity only if I wrote on the box, you can what? Check after the review the class when you're done. It only if the what? Holding period exactly equal to the time to maturity, okay? And a rising interest rate is associated with fall in bond price. You see, guys, here you see what happened. The general interest rate is what? Increase from 10% to 20%. So if you only holding one period, you see the price decrease from 1,000 to what? 500, 1,000 to 516. So if the interest rate increase, the already issued bonds, the current bond, particular long-term bond, the price will what? Decrease. You notice will decrease from 1,000 to 503. Do you understand? So that's why when the Fed announced the what increased interest rate, and also they say we're predicting we're going to increase moderately every what 12 basis point, means 0.25% every 6 weeks. So you can expecting what interest rate what in the path of increase. So you always read the Wall Street Journal. If everybody expecting interest rate increase, there's a sell off of what current bond, because current bond is less attractive, because people, the investor waiting for what invest in the newer issued bond. So that's why they always say, oh, there's exodus from our bond market people shift what the fund from bond market to the stock market because they're selling off their bonds and bring their money to the stock market. Do you understand what I mean? And also, are you clear now, guys? So that's why resulting in the capital loss if time to maturity is longer than what holding period. In all our example, we just hold what 1 period, and there's still long time to go to the what to the maturity, right? And the more distance a bond's maturity, the greater size of percentage price change associated with what interest rate change. What does that mean is that you see here, right, is what the interest rate is increased from 10% 20%, but you noticed the capital rate of capital gain associated a lot with what how far from what maturity. Here for the 30 years you just holding for what 1 year, you still have 29 years to go. Here you have 19 years to go. Here you have 9 years to go. And here is what longest, you have 29 years to go. What happened? Your price change, right? Very volatile, very violent, as if you're distant from your what maturity date. You still have 29 years distant to the maturity date. Are you clear now, guys? And the interest do not always has to be positive. Oh, guys, I have the article. When I have time this weekend, I will email you. Is that in the 2017-14, the European Central Bank start to give the negative nominal interest rate. Japan and Switzerland give the nominal interest rate. The Trump was proposed the Fed to give nominal interest, a negative nominal interest rate, but the economists and the Fed said no way. We are superpower. We have the reputation to maintain. We are not going to give the negative nominal interest rate. There's a lot of reason. If we give the negative nominal interest rate, our mutual fund, remember money market mutual fund, that industry will be killed because money market mutual fund won't make any money, and then the money market mutual fund manager won't make what any living. And also that will, if you get the negative interest rate, they also have cost of the sale of what the dollar, then the dollar's what global dominance position will be challenged. So in United States, we are not going to what the negative nominal interest rate. The Fed just said we will keep our Fed fund rate close to zero. They never said we're gonna go to negative rate, but it went to negative rate in Switzerland, in Denmark, and in European Union in 2014. Okay, I have an article how life is when the nominal interest is negative from Barron. I have to go do the search to find it, and then I have a copy paste because it's not free to read the Barron. I do have a password, so maybe this weekend if I have time, I will dig it out. I will forward for your information, okay? And also the more distance what a bond maturity, right? The lower the rate of return, the occur as a result of what increase the interest rate, same as the previous what I said. So even if a bond has substantial initial interest rate, its return can be negative if interest rate raise. So what does that mean is if the general environment is increased, the trajectory of the interest rate path is on the increase path, then the current bond will also all will lose its what luster. The price of current bond will all going to what decrease. So therefore your rate of return can be what negative. Do you understand what I mean? That's how we use this whole calculation to demonstrate. Is everyone clear so far? Clear, clear, clear? Type yes or no. It's quite a complicated concept. I hope you understand it. Did you got it? Did you understand it? All right, guys, and I am very good. I love you guys. You're very smart and so engaging. 2 hours, 40 minutes. You stick with me. I love you. Okay, guys, and so that's why we come to the conclusion, maturity and what? The volatility of bond return. So there's something called the interest risk. So the price and the return for long-term bond are more volatile than those of what short-term bond. Just look at those calculation. Look at the long-term bond. Their rate of return what? It's very large loss, right? So in the long run, if you invest long-term bond, thank you, Vivek. So that's why it's extremely what volatile if you invest long-term bond, because in 30 years interest go up and go down, go up and go down. If the interest in the what downward path, then if you have a long-term bond, you sell it, you probably have some capital gain. But the problem is it's hard to predict interest rate movement. That's why long-term bond is more risky. But short-term bond, like 1-year bond, even it's have a short-term 1-year bond, you usually hold for 1 year, right? Then immediately you will get your face value, the cash back. So your risk will be minimal. You understand what I mean? So there's no interest risk for any bond whose time to maturity to match the holding period. So if you want to invest for long-term bond, the only way to averse all those interest rate risk, just as I explained to you, if it's 30 years corporate bonds, okay, you want to invest, fine. If you don't want to suffer the loss, just be honest, be patient, hold exactly 30 years. Then you don't gain much, but you don't lose either. So that's what it means. You have no interest risk if your holding period exactly equal to what? Time to maturity. I agree, guys, but I don't think we are have that kind of patience. We are very young. Well, you guys even younger than me. I'm not that old yet. I'm old, but I'm not that old yet. So I still want to play stock market to take some risk, but get the big bucks. I don't want to invest those 30-year bonds. That's too long. My God. But then you would say, who is the ones who invest 30 years? Remember all those institution pension funds? Because we retired at 67. So it's for them, they receive what? They invest 30-year bond, they hold them for 30 years. Meanwhile, they receive what? Interest payments. So pension fund is one of big investor for long-term bond. Insurance company also hold what? The long-term bond. Do you understand what I mean? Individual like you and me, we're young. We should play the risk a little bit, okay? Get the higher return. Clear, guys? So now we're gonna talk about the nominal interest rate and what? The real interest rate. Guys, the nominal interest rate and the real interest rate, right, guys? You remember there is something is that all the interest rate you get from the bank when you apply loan, when you open the deposit bank accounts, they all have the interest rate codes. Remember, all those interest rate given to you are also on the newspaper. That is the nominal interest rate. So the nominal interest rate is make no allowance for what inflation. It just tell you it's nominal interest rate. But the real interest rate is what? It's adjusted for change in price level. So it's more accurate to reflect the cost of what? The borrowing. So the real interest rate is what? The nominal interest rate what? Minus the real inflation rate. That's the real interest rate. But do remember the what? The inflation rate is the lag economic indicator, okay? We call this a lagged economic what? Indicator. So what is lagged in the because I told you the general price level is measured by CPI index by the BSL, Bureau of what? Labor, BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics. And usually what? They in the bucket they have 9,000 goods. They have surveyed the 9,000 goods, then find the average level. Then they will compare this with their base month or base quarter. Then they will find the percentage of change of price level. Then that's the inflation rate. So usually, if you want to calculate the July's inflation rate, you have to wait for almost the end of what, August. So that's why the inflation rate is hard to measure. So therefore, the real interest rate is hard to measure as well. So what happened is we have something called ex ante real interest rate, and then there's ex post real interest rate. The ex ante real interest rate is adjusted for expected what, change in the price level. Ex post real interest is adjusted for actual changes in the price level. So right now I only have 5 minutes. I don't have the time to explain. I only have 2 slides. Can I do this tomorrow? And then we start chapter 5. And the Thursday we review. How's that, guys? Does that make sense? Because I don't want to just explain 5 minutes, which is not enough time. I need to write in the whiteboards. So we have 2 slides to go, and then tomorrow I start the chapter 5. Does that make sense, everybody, guys? Are you clear? Did you understand today's lecture? Very good. I love you all. It's a lot. Yes, I agree. I'm gonna end here, okay? 5 minutes a little earlier, because I don't want to go. This X and the X post will be in the test. I need to give you a real life experience example. That's why I don't want to just give 5 minutes, okay? So I see you tomorrow, baby.